and see if this still makes a bunch of noise. So, got it in neutral. Right. Ooh, listen to that. Okay, let me flip it over to drive, right? So guess what? Hear that? So it didn't take care of it. So it definitely didn't work. So there is still another problem. Wow, okay. So let's keep going and let's keep looking. Let's keep looking for that problem then. Now that we've confirmed that the bracket cam assembly was not the cause of this problem. I know some of these go bad, and I've gone and dealt with some of these before. But we've also discovered that the pedal itself, specifically, let's see if I can get this close enough where it will focus. There we go. Specifically, right here where my fingernail is. See those little knurl marks? Well, I've gone and I've actually reset this by taking a little socket, putting it down here and giving it a tap, because this piece right here ends up slipping forward. It goes that way. And the problem is this whole little piece right here slides up this shaft up to maybe about here, and then your transmission makes a big clacking noise. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take some Loctite. I'm going to take this and I'm going to pry this off, which won't take much effort. I'll just take a screwdriver and stick it right in here between the plastic and the metal, and I'll pop this off. And then I'm going to put some Loctite on the, well, threads, and then let that dry. And I know it's going to work. The question is how long will it last? Will it last a day? 4 or 5 different pedal presses? Will it last for years? I'm not sure. But I'm going to try this anyway, because this pedal essentially is useless anyhow. So if I experiment with it, then you guys can actually benefit from my successes or failures over time. Now, I have a new one of these pedals coming, but it might not be here until, like, say, Monday. And these aren't that expensive, and you can just simply go and grab one, you know, off of eBay or Amazon or whatever it is, and just install this without messing with it. Like I said, these aren't very expensive. I think I might have paid $16, $17 or something for an exact replacement. So I'm going to go ahead and do the modifications as I talked about a few minutes ago, and then I will insert that pedal back into the rear of the transmission, and we'll see how long it lasts. Hopefully you can see this. Got a little block of wood here to help with the orientation of this. Hold this a little bit. Try to hold this a little bit. Put this all over the place here. Whoops, I don't want that. Don't want it on there. Alright, that ought to be enough on the threads. It's probably even too much. Now, I have to put this on oriented exactly the right way, which should be this way. Famous last words. Okay, now I'm going to pound it. I've got to do this off camera, unfortunately. I've got to do it quickly. More than that. Time is of the essence. And while Loctite is drying. A little bit more, I think. Don't want it too tight, though. I think I can do it even tighter than that. That looks pretty good. Right like that. I got a little bit of space in there. It's not much. Hopefully that's enough, because that's never going to come out again. Huh, very funny. Wow. And it moves pretty nicely. And that gap isn't bad at all. It's a tiny little gap. Going down the rabbit hole of rattles, take a look at this. See if I get that right. Hear that? Now, watch what happens when I go the other side. Try not to hit the camera. Perfectly fine. And we got a rattle. And no, it is not the neutral drive pedal. That isn't it. You've got this gear right here, and it's loose on this axle. Let me see if I can show you. Anyway, see if I can do a better job. There we go. See that? That's loose. Now, what's so interesting is that I've been playing with this for a little bit. This little doodad right here, and there's a matching one on the other side right there. Guess what? Both of those guys are open bearings. Yep, completely exposed to everything. It looks like some kind of a weird spacer or something like that. But when you take them out, you end up realizing that it's a bearing. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I never really had the opportunity to look at this that closely. And you can't see that very well until I focus it. And that dude is a bearing. And guess what? You can re-grease it. You need to separate these two halves right here, like that. See the little ball bearings in there? Well, and also the grease is reflecting. And guess what? You can re-grease those. And boy, let me tell you, this thing was so dry and so loose and so rattly. So I went ahead and used wheel bearing grease on this, not my electric motor bearing grease, because these axles don't spin very fast. So I can use a higher viscosity grease. So I'm going to see if re-greasing these pieces in here will actually make a difference. Well, after about an hour running down the rattle rabbit hole, I have great news. This fix really works well. So as I mentioned a few minutes ago, right in there, this bearing right here, and then this bearing right here, grease them up. I used a very thick, high pressure, high temperature axle grease, wheel bearing grease, not electric motor grease, not the blue stuff. I used the red stuff that you've seen me use before, and it is fabulous. So I'll put it in drive, and yeah, that's normally what you hear. I mean, that's to be expected, but let's put it in neutral. Ho, ho, ho. So let's turn it this way, where it normally exhibits maximum rattle. Nothing. Let's turn it the other way, where it never rattled before. Nope, just as quiet. So look at that. Really fantastic. And what I really notice is this little piece right here, this cog, this doesn't wobble around anymore. No more wobble. So have a rattly transmission, maybe what you need to do is grease those two axle bearings, because man, oh man, did it ever make a difference for me. And right here, this is usually worst case scenario, leaning this way. And yeah, I can't make it rattle. I can't do it now. It's now completely, totally, utterly quiet. So a couple hours ago, I went and put some Loctite on this, and it's still holding, hasn't broken free yet. Matter of fact, I put the original cam bracket assembly back on, and we are good to go. So technically speaking, in order to completely remove all the annoying little rattles that I was experiencing, all I really needed to do was grease, and up in there, glue. Technically speaking, no parts. So let me get this Diamond Edition back together again and see if anything lets loose. Hopefully it stays in good shape. It's the next day, and let's give this Diamond Edition a trial run. Well, the foot switch still seems to be okay. Nothing's broken loose that I can tell. And that's got to be just about the quietest Kirby that I've ever heard driving it in neutral. All right, so let's hear what the high-speed wind down sounds like. Has it smoothed out, or does it still have some kind of gravelly noise left to it? I'm still hearing a clacky wind down to me. Yeah, I'm still hearing a little bit of a clacky wind down. So I'm going to guess that it's possible that I might need to replace the body of the transmission. So guess what? I'm going to tear this thing down again, and I've got a donor transmission right there. So let's see if that makes any difference. Now we have the donor transmission in, and that's the only part that was actually swapped, just the body of the transmission itself. So let's see how it turned out. So if I put it in neutral, let's go back and forth. Yeah, nice and quiet. So let's try the wind up and wind down in full power. Really, no more clacking. Okay, so let's give it a push test, I guess. Okay, so I think that did it. So, in the end, this long journey. So I did the rear bearing in here twice because I had one bearing fail. So good bearing in there, it's perfect. Motor's great. And then we did a couple of drops of Loctite on the drive pedal. And then we greased the two rear axle bearings and changed the actual drive body itself. That's it. And that's enough. So I got to button this guy up, and then we'll leave it alone. Thanks for watching.